Transphobic hate crime is on the rise. The London Metropolitan Police alone has reported nearly a 50% increase in 2014.
It's starting in kindergarten. 5-year-olds are now, I don't know, exposed to what is transgender. Hey, Mommy, what is transgender? Am I transgender? It's very scary.
This is a very extreme, very controversial program when you're teaching children in kindergarten, first grade, that you can be a boy, a girl, or both. Or that you may be a boy on the outside, but be a girl on the inside. This brings gender confusion.
So, what is a transgender person?
Okay, what's a transgender person? Go on, you go.
They think that they were born in the wrong body, whatever.
I don't know.
Is it
someone who wants to be someone
yeah,
else,
who's
like
changed their gender?
A transgender person is someone who was born one sex and is another, or believes to be themselves to be another.
I don't know how much of that is true, because I don't know, you didn't hear so much about it before they was able to do the operations. I don't think you'd have heard so much about it.
I think homosexuality has been difficult enough, but transgender is very difficult.
I suppose someone could feel that way and then not tell.
Why do you think they wouldn't tell? Because they feel
They-
embarrassed.
Yeah, well, maybe they feel like it's other people would think it was not normal and then not be very nice to them.
My name is Elle, I'm 25 years old. I live in sunny Brighton. I work in the health sector and I'm also a practicing artist. I think it's quite hard to define what the term transgender means or what is a transgender person per se. I see the term transgender as very much an umbrella term. So under that you're going to have anyone who does not feel comfortable with the sex that they were assigned at birth. In many ways being trans doesn't actually affect my day-to-day life. It doesn't really affect my work. It doesn't really affect my family life anymore. Luckily my family are very accepting. I'm extremely fortunate in that regard, especially considering I'm from a Irish Catholic family. They've been very, very nice. Relationships are a bit more complex. It feels like you are some people's absolute ultimate fantasy, and for other people you're their worst nightmare. So, you know, it's weird. I often say my relationship with men is pretty complex because I don't know whether they want to kind of fuck me or stab me. So it's a tricky one. I've had someone threaten to stab me. I've had someone threaten to kill me. Yeah, people seem to think they have kind of a bit of a right to touch your body or to ask you very intimate questions about your body, just because it may be slightly different to theirs. So one of my latest projects has been making medals, and then because it's about how trans women are like fetishized in everyday life, they can't do anything without being labelled and stared at and gawked. So like this one says, "Ladyboy kisses grandmother." This one says, "African she-male gets engaged." And it's about how just living our daily lives, we're constantly stared at and remarked, you know, whether you're kissing your granny or watching TV or making a curry, you are labelled for being transgender. And that really interests me. So I've turned them into medals because it's like, well, yeah, they're seen as accomplishments, but also they're pulling you down and they're pointless, it's baggage, it's just pointless. It's a pointless novelty. But unfortunately, no matter what we do, the fact that we're trans dominates the conversation. So that's what the medals are about. Those are my medals.
In the film.
Me?
Shall I introduce?
Should I introduce myself?
Do you want to be introduced?
I don't mind. But
Me and Adam are figuring out. We're not in a relationship technically at the moment. We're
kind of explore. Like,
in a. What was it you said earlier?
kind of
An open,
an
platonic,
platonic but romantic relationship.
romantic relationship.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that we
You
connect.
buy me presents.
It means we connect on a romantic level, and
Yeah.
we don't necessarily have to have physical intimacy to feel filled by one another.
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out, aren't we? That's Adam.
Hi.
If you could not be trans, would you?
If I could not be trans. Oh, that's a tricky one. No, I kind of like the person I've turned into, I suppose. I don't know, it's a difficult one. I think I'd be a completely different person. So, yeah. It doesn't define me, but it's a pretty big factor.
I am Kelly Tonks. I am one of a number of representatives for Transmedia Watch. It's a charity that works very specifically on media issues for trans people. We, as a charity, would involve ourselves in a number of different projects and so on. For instance, at the moment, one of the projects that we have running is the National LGBT Partnership, which is aimed around the reporting of homophobic and transphobic crimes. We've also done a lot of work with the BBC, Channel 4 and various other visual media outlets. I think the impact that media has on everything that we do is enormous. There's a fundamental impact on so much of the way we live. And I think also the danger is that in many ways, the media, the mainstream media, is controlled by so few people, and so it's really important to ensure that there is balance. Gender is a very personal subject, and I think, from a personal perspective, I have always had a sense of femaleness as part of my gender identity. I was born with a male body. It's difficult to say that I felt as though I was trapped in a male body, because there were plenty of times when I was a man that I had good times and I enjoyed who I was. But there was consistently a discord in my head in terms of how I felt and how I presented. And so I personally felt the need to change that. But that is entirely my own personal journey. I think the future is much improved. The introduction of trans identities in the Equality Act 2010 has simply forced organisations like the NHS, like the police, to think about trans people and to understand trans people, and in doing so, the amount of people that are thinking about trans people and trying to understand trans people has exponentially increased. It's only through personal exposure and experience that your attitudes to things will change, and so by making that a responsible exposure and a responsible interaction, I think is hugely important. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to a point where things are much rosier in the garden, shall we say.